This Let's Play was supported by these awesome hobby companies.
Hello, folks. Today I'm joined by my, terrible duo of Warren and Ben, and also somebody a bit more sensible. We have with us the rules developer and writer for Hellboy, the role-playing game. So we have Alex Delaney with us. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Hey, Alex!
So we're going to be playing through the first Hellboy quick start scenario. Before we kick in, I think it's only fair that we introduce our characters, and then we can let Alex lead us off. So I am playing Francesca Lyle, a former doctoral candidate in archaeology from the University of Edinburgh, recruited into the B.P.R.D. after discovering that a curse upon the tomb in South Africa was very real. B.P.R.D. saved the dig team, and though Francesca still relives the tomb's deafening silence in her quiet moments, she started showing signs of psychic abilities recently, the source of which remains unclear. I will be doing a bad Scottish accent.
Well, I'm playing Dr. Marcus Hansard Jr., although I like to put the idea that maybe MD is at the end of all of these things. But anyway, Marcus's life as a physician before the B.P.R.D. was such a long time ago. He feels like a ghost just thinking about it. He remembers Mona's first day, who's one of the other characters from this set as well, odd job, and even had lunch with Hellboy once. So, that's one of those things you bring up over dinner occasionally. Now everything just aches, though, and he's transferring to a desk job in 2 months. Jeremy, who we'll meet soon, would never let him hear the end of it. So for now, it's a big secret. Or not, as the case may be. Roleplay that, damn it. Yeah.
Well, I'm playing Reverend Jeremy Peters. I'm a former U.S. Army chaplain, and I joined the B.P.R.D. following an incident with a possessed colleague while on deployment in the Middle East. But I don't talk about it, and I wasn't convicted for anything. I'm concerned about rumors of changes within the team. And I've only just begun getting used to the different idiosyncrasies of its members.
Sounds like you're also getting used to that accent as well.
Oh, yeah. Somebody in OnTableTop thought it was wise for me to play a reverend. I'm loving this already.
It was this or the Vietnamese cop. And we wondered which one we'd get away with on camera. So,
right.
So, Alex, so Hellboy, the role-playing game, this is a 5th edition reskin, essentially. Do you want to take us through
it runs on the ever-popular 5th edition rule set. So it's a D20 system where you add your ability score, of which there are 6, and then your proficiency bonus if you're skilled. We have, however, made some quite significant changes. Changes is probably the wrong word. We've made some interesting additions. We've knocked out the back and built a couple of conservatories. The main one that fans of Kings of War, the role-playing game, might find familiar is that we have a new core mechanic which is called Doom and Ingenuity, which is every time a D20 gets rolled, a D10 gets rolled. On a roll of a 1, the planets align and the GM gets to giggle. And on the roll of a 10, inspiration strikes, the planets align, and the players are able to do something cool, whether that's powering an ability or pushing through with an investigation and finding something else.
It all sounds delightfully excellent. For example, one of the things we can do with our ingenuity is taking the brunt. So if you're wearing a tactical vest of some description, you can spend a point of ingenuity to reduce the incoming damage suffered by 1d6 or your constitution modifier per point of ingenuity spent. So we can hopefully build up a bit of ingenuity as we go through. However, having met us, I can't see a huge amount of ingenuity being used in this. So we're bull in the china shopping our way through this one.
Mm-hmm. People seem to either go one of 2 ways, which is they spend it all immediately, or they want to find out what happens if I max out ingenuity. Do I get a super secret spend at the end?
Super Saiyan Hellboy. Okay, so you've met the players, and you've met the GM. So let's get stuck in then, Alex. Take it away.
Okie dokie. So the B.P.R.D has received a request from Duncan Forrest, an up-and-coming member of the Conservative Party. It's a fairly low-priority investigation. There's some rumours that the estate of Uxley Hall, which fell out of private ownership 4 years ago, when the family that had owned it since had inherited it during World War One, sadly died out due to natural causes, as far as we can tell. The ghost would appear to be, from initial reports, Mary Pym, and her presence has caused some upset, and the team has been tasked with resolving the haunting and see if the ghost can be if the ghost is real, that she can be aided in passing on. Current reports are that she has only been spotted at night. Uxley Hall itself transferred ownership from the Uxley family when the last of them was killed during World War One, rather sadly. From then on until 4 years ago, it was owned by the Pennyworth family, Reginald Pennyworth, originally, and then it passed to his son Edward, and then so on, and until it came to Robert Pennyworth, who died 4 years ago, and the government is anxious to sell property and keep the wheels of commerce moving. The witness who has spotted the haunting is an individual by the name of Matthew Donnell, who is a property inspector who was ascertaining whether or not the property is safe to be sold on into private ownership, or if it has to be demolished or reworked, or if it's eligible for being listed as a historical building. You are given his mobile phone details, and an interview is set up, and you jump on a plane, watch far too many bad movies on the plane ride over, have to sign 1,000,001 waivers and take a visit to the police station to register your B.P.R.D sidearms. Thanks to the B.P.R.D's global reputation, you are given special dispensation to walk around the UK with firearms. And you load yourself up into the B.P.R.D, seemingly ubiquitous, and they are everywhere. 4x4 with the tinted glass, and they're all black because they're always black.
I'll just say at this point, I'm driving to Oxley Hall because I've had some issues with my eyes, and this might be a way for me to test my eyes.
That seems sensible. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The Conservative will love that one.
On the plane ride over, you of course do have access, and of course whilst you're getting suited up and driving over, you can do some research on the hall. So can I get a group history check? So
yeah, sure.
And remember to roll your bonus d10 for Doom and Ingenuity.
Okay.
Oh.
Is it a history check you wanted, yeah?
Yep, intelligence history.
Cool.
15.
Oh, okay. Well, I got 6 and I rolled a 1. So that's
excellent.
Doom. So that's Doom straight off the bat.
I rolled a 16 on my big dice and a 2 on my small dice.
Okie dokie. So with a 15, Francesca is able to find that the majority of the publicly available information on Uxley Hall in the press and similar publications is that there was a scandal in the 1910s relating to Mary Pym and her suicide. And with a 16, despite the fact that it was only one hall, it's one of those things of you've all done enough investigations to know there's usually more noise around big stately homes that change ownership and pass to servants and other things. This one seems the lack of information is in itself suggests that something might have happened and been hushed up.
Oh, okay. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry and not really understanding anything. So, yeah.
Marcus has the
check the
Wikipedia
sources.
entry and is renaming all of it. And,
yes.
has found a conspiracy theory that clearly Uxley Hall being a stately home, well, it's clearly owned by lizard people because all of the gentry of 20th century Britain were clearly lizard people. Otherwise, it would be silly.
Do you not remember that time 3 years ago when we bumped into the lizard people? It's got to be them again, right?
Marcus, shut your mouth. You're talking balls, man.
Have I said how much I love your accent? It's so good.
While we're driving along, I will contact the property developers at Matthew Donald to try and arrange a meeting.
Donald.
You're able to arrange a meeting. He agrees to meet you at the local pub, the Lock 13. So you're able to, and that is on your way to the hall, so you can do a small diversion.
Well, presumably, he'll have the keys as well if he's been doing the
property.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but if you could bring those with you, love, that would be great. Cheers.
He sounds a bit jittery on the phone. So you
meet the pub, have a brandy, it'll be fine.
Yes.
It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you drive through the surrounding town. You park up in your large 4x4 that looks like it could crush several of the cars parked out the front. Jeremiah, thankfully, though, his eyesight would appear to be fine after the few-hour drive from the airport.
Is this the nearest village or town to Uxley Hall, then?
Yes, it's the surround. So Uxley Hall is, from Google Maps and GPS transmissions, is out of the way of the main town. From your investigation from earlier, it would have used to have farmland, so it would have been outside of the nearest town.
Mm-hmm.
Can I suggest then, gentlemen, that before we move on up to the hall, we take the time to spend in the town here and see whether or not anybody else knows anything about Uxley Hall. I mean, there's bound to be records. The local church or the local historian.
If you want to go and talk to Matthew, I'll go and have a talk to some of the people at the bar, see if they know anything more about the hall. I did find some interesting stuff in that Wikipedia. Maybe they'll be able to tell me yes or no on some of it. So
that's fine, Marcus.
Just while you're doing that, I'll go to the church and see if I can hook up with someone there.
There we go. I seem to have adopted Warren's accent, but that's totally fine. Because I was talking like this before, so I'm going to go that. There we go.
Head into the bar and see if I can spot Matthew Donald or ask around.
With your B.P.R.D. tactical vest, which of course has the trademark symbol and B.P.R.D., you're not exactly subtle.
No.
Matthew kind of waves you over. He's dressed in fairly business casual. He appears to be at least 2 drinks in.
Good man.
The time of day currently, it's late afternoon, about 2, 3 o'clock.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Donald. My name is Lyle.
Hello. Oh, I'm Miss Lyle. Hello.
I understand that you were assaying the Uxley Hall property and spotted something. Do you want to walk me through what you've seen exactly?
Yes. Well, the sorry, it's going to sound silly, but I mean, you deal with odd things all the time, don't you? So maybe you can tell me.
Don't worry about how silly it sounds. I just need the facts.
Can you roll me a persuasion check to try and, as you're talking to him with your calm tone, just make sure that he remembers everything?
A total of 3. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not going to be very persuasive.
He explains to you that he was doing some measurements across the house to ascertain if we were going to convert it, if it was going to be converted into flats, how many could be done, how many would have to be brought up to code, and things like that. He seems a lot more confident when he's talking about his job. He does let silence hang quite often.
I'll just reach across and give him a reassuring little tap to the back of the hand anytime he slows down. Just keep going there. You're doing grand.
So it was all fine, and until I went into the master bedroom, and I thought it was just a trick of the light, but in the window there was a face, and then when I turned to look away, there was a woman hanging from the rafter.
Just hanging in the center of the room or over by the window? Or where did you see her? Just try and be as frank as you can, as detailed as you can, if you don't mind.
Well, I looked out of the window. I saw the sun had gone down, and I was already running late, and I was behind on the measurements anyway because of the mold damage, and trying to ascertain whether or not that had gotten into the foundations, which I still haven't done. I still need to go back. I mean, I left in such a hurry that I left all my tools and all my equipment. Darn thing. But no, I looked out of the window onto the driveway, and then I turned around, and then hanging, and there was like an old dresser, one of the few bits of furniture left in there, and she was hanging from the roof, just there in the thing, with this.
That's fine, Matthew. I can call you Matthew. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Hefty drink.
Tell me this, at any point, did you notice anything else in the house? Did it feel cold, or was there a smell beyond the mold?
Well, the mold was interesting because given the amount of moisture in the house, which is out of sync with the overall humidity of the house, there should be more.
That is fascinating.
And there was this odd smell. I mean, there were cold spots. It's an old house. There's an exposed bit of roofing, which I chalked that up to. But there was a faint scent of vinegar and bleach in, especially the ground level. Although which of course is a kind of housewife's fix for an old homemade fix for mold and mildew and stopping it spreading. But according to the records, ever since the previous owner passed away, it has not been cleaned or even opened. So how that would persist over 4 years, well, boggles the mind.
Definitely sounds like there's something there. Tell me, do you have the keys to the property?
Yes, shaky hand. Places them on the table.
I'll reach across, just gently pull them towards me. We'll look into this, Matthew, and don't you worry. We'll get to the bottom of this. If you want, we can bring your equipment back.
I don't think going there's a very good idea. That woman seemed very.
Oh no, we'll be fine. We deal with things like this all the time. You don't worry your pretty head. In fact, have another whiskey. Wave across to the barman. Make it a double.
And with that, we will just pan the scene over to outsiders. Reset the clock, everyone. They've already split the party.
Technically, I'm still in the pub, which is okay, right? So, yeah. So currently, while that's happening, I'm at the bar just with a couple of, I'm assuming, quite annoyed locals that these Americans have suddenly, well, there is a Scottish person here, but these Americans have wandered around into here, and I'll be like, just leaning on the bar, order a whiskey, make sure one of them is slid towards the end of the bar, so it can be handed over to Matthew later, kind of thing. And I'm like, you heard anything about this Uxley Hall? We're over here and we're hearing some crazy, weird stuff going on in the background and all sorts of stuff. Any rumors, any folklore from you folk here?
Okie dokie. Can you roll me a persuasion or intuition? Your choice. Let me know which one you use, and you'll get different information depending on which skill you use.
Intuition, because they're probably going to be quite guarded, so I'm going to try and see if I can learn a bit more about them that way.
Okay.
So that would be a 13. and no bad things happen on the Doom dice thing, so that's good.
Okay. I'm held at bay once again. The majority, the owners, from several people, you learn that the previous owners very much kept to themselves. They didn't have a staff of people coming in to help maintain it. So it was just, at one stage, it was just the previous owner, Matthew, on his own, although how he was meant to keep a house, no wonder it's a wreck. How can one person try and keep that up and going? There's old rumors that back during the First World War, the previous owner, his wife died, and the local gossip is that, and I bet he killed her.
Right. Yeah.
Well, why? What? Now the papers clearly say the historical record clearly says that she got she was a self-slaughter, and it's just like, yeah, but come on, big house. Go on.
In his mind as well, Marcus is completely justifying his lizard people theory, and he's like, definitely lizard people. Yep, that's it's them again.
There are some. You get the impression with your role that this is not a town where an awful lot happens. So
right, yeah, a
lot of the locals have lived here for quite a while, and so have their families for a number of generations. So the old stories have begun slinking through. Mm-hmm. A couple of people do pass you off on stories of what Matthew's been ranting about, because when he first came back, he was white as a sheet and blabbering about the house is too damp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And and look at him, and as it gets kind of pointed out to you, you look over, and he looks as though he's got either a severe tension headache, or he's visibly, when someone's face is kind of semi-scrunched up with that low-level pain.
Yeah. After they sort of point that out, and we look over and see him, and he's passed the keys and that kind of thing. I'll go over and I'll just sort of say, hello, Matthew. I was just wondering if would you mind if I just had a look at you? I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. Just check you over.
Okay. You're the professionals. You're not going to the house, are you?
No. Well, maybe, but no. I'll just sort of sit down next to him and just do like a medical checkup on him, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Whilst we're rolling that up, Jeremiah, you were heading to the church. Is that correct?
Yep. I found a little old Church of England parish.
I'm sure Jeremiah's right. It's fine. They'll go back to it and realize their mistake eventually. You're able to. It is currently open. The cleaners are currently in. Several volunteers that are scrubbing the pews down, everything else, and you are eventually introduced to the local priest, a gentleman by the name of Gerald.
Howdy, Gerald. I'm Jeremiah Peters. We're here checking out some stories around Uxley Hall, and I thought I would come up and talk to a fellow man of the cloth like me, just see if we could split hairs on this thing.
Certainly. Well, I don't like to spread idle gossip, but of course there are the local rumors surrounding the original owners of that fine institution, that they were, and then he kind of in hushed tone says that they were not, that at the turn of the century, they engaged in unholy worship of false idols.
Interesting. And is Mary Pym? I've heard this name, Mary Pym. Is she one of the old, one of the previous owners, or when does Mary Pym fit in?
Mary Pym, the local legend the local, as with every small town, so I'm sure it is across the Great Ocean. We have our local legends and our local stories. Local records show that Mary Pym very sadly committed suicide by hanging herself in one of the bedrooms of the estate.
Well,
She's, I believe she's buried up there, which is one of the reasons I remember it. We only have a small graveyard here, but burying it on your own estate is still rare.
mm.
And her husband, I forget his name, was the owner of the hall. Believe he and his son perished during the Great War, and then it passed to the name escapes me. Pennyworth, one of his retainers.
And did Mary die before or after the Great War? Or did she precede the death of her husband and son?
Fortunately, some local school children were doing a report on local legends. So I've got the newspaper cuttings in my office if you would like to come and have a look.
I'd mighty appreciate that.
Okay, and with that, we will spin back to the bar. What did we get on the medicine check, Marcus?
So I got 14 on the medicine check.
14 on the medicine check. That is a hefty. So he does not have a concussion, which is the first thing you would usually check for. He looks like he's had trouble sleeping. It looks as though he's struggling from lack of sleep, and that's precipitating or causing neurological and chemical imbalances in the brain, which would cause a migraine. But you do know enough to recognize this, that this is the kind of, it's very similar to the headaches that Francesca reported when she started interacting with odd things in that metaphysical sense.
Okay. I sort of take Francesca aside then for a second, just sort of, we'll say we'll go and get him another drink kind of thing, sort of whatever. While he seems to have, typical sort of a couple of problems here and there, probably just through from lack of sleep, there is something about his mind that seems a little strange, a little bit like what you were feeling. Maybe you're able to sort of tap into something there on that.
I could try. If
there might be something deeper in his mind that he might have remembered or something.
If I want to reach out with something like psychometry, do I need to be in contact with him? Can I do it from the bar?
You can do it from the bar. Psychometry is a fairly inaccurate power in terms of its locality. In a crowded area like this, give it your normal concern would be this many minds. Maybe I would pick up unrelated information, but if he's interacted with something supernatural of another world, then that would normally cut through the noise.
Okay.
So if you would like to use psychometry, that is
definitely do this.
Okay, that will be a charisma check to attempt to manifest your abilities and hold control of them.
Okay.
And the pub explodes. No.
Give me time. So I get +1 on my charisma. Oh, so that'll be an 18. Gotta roll a d10.
Okay.
On a 10.
Nice.
Oh, ingenuity. I'm having that.
Okay, so you can spend that immediately to get some more information in this instance, or you can store it for later on.
I'll store it for later, but that's one of my 3. I can only manifest psychic powers 3 times per case. Per case.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's 1 blown. That's all right.
So you reach out, and psychometry doesn't give you kind of flashes of images, smells. You get a different sense, different piece of information. So you're able to gather some information. You hear movement under the wallpaper of this almost this house that feels like it's been picked clean, like the walls itself are hollow husks, and under the wallpaper, moving out of time with the movement that you see, you hear little legs scrapping against it.
That's delightful.
You see Matthew, his head, you can feel the searing pain. It's ever since you got the keys, or ever since you set eyes on it. It's just been unrelenting. And you get a strange vision of snails, frogs, reptiles, maggots.
Okay.
And that is the majority of the information that you are able to decipher. You get additional flashes, but you're not quite able to. And you do see it's almost, if you imagine like a gallows, but without the machinery. You see a woman falling as if from a trap door, and then her, the bone cracking sound of a neck being dislocated, but there is no rope.
Okay.
And with that, we'll just quickly shift over to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, your fellow man of the cloth, as he said, had several local school children working on a project, so he's got it all in a folder. The death of Mary Pym did precede her husband's death by a number of years. It's closer to 1902, 1903 she died.
Mm-hmm. Is the name of the husband in there?
It is indeed, if you just bear with me 2 seconds.
It's Richard. Richard, isn't it?
Arthur Uxley was her husband, and Reginald Pennyworth was the loyal retainer or servant that inherited the house after Arthur's son Edward passed away without leaving any family.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think is important or might be interesting about this?
Well, Arthur and Edward, there's the public record says that they died during the war, but I believe that the entire family is buried up there.
Okay.
Which I was remarking earlier is odd because the rest of the Uxley line are all interred at the church. But after Arthur, they were all buried at the hall.
Mm-hmm. So Arthur was the last of the Oxleys, yeah?
Edward, his son, was the last of the Uxleys.
Edward was the last of the Oxleys. So Mary was buried at the hall, and then Arthur and Edward were also buried at the hall. But preceding that, the Oxleys were buried in your graveyard.
Yes.
Okay.
And Arthur Pennyworth seems to have continued that tradition of most of his family are buried up there.
So the Pennyworths, they're buried up there as well, his descendants.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Reverend. I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
I am more than happy to help in any way I can.
I'll help myself to some holy water on the way out.
Of course.
And that communion wine.
No. Okay, then if we shift back to Francesca and Marcus back at the bar.
So, having gained these wonderful insights, I'll turn to Marcus. Yeah, right. He's definitely been in contact with something. I'll take a glass of whiskey across to Matthew and set it on the table beside him, going, that should probably be your last of the night, love. You've had quite a few already, But I suggest you see a doctor. You don't look too healthy. You may want to get some tablets for sleeping.
I tried. Nothing. I'm sure it's just nerves.
I think it may be more than that, but you know your own mind. Anyway, we'll see to you equipment up the hall and drop it back to you, and hopefully we'll have this matter resolved and you'll be able to go about your work again. Thank you for your time, Mr. Donald.
Don't go there. Don't go there. If you are really going to go there, don't go at night. Don't go in the dark.
Have no fear. We're adept at dealing with things like these. We know exactly what needs to be done.
We're professionals.
Marcus, shall we go and find Jeremiah?
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably found out what he needs to know by now.
He's got the keys to the car as well.
So Jeremiah rolls up, having taken the 4x4 to the local church. Because we know that his eyesight's fine on motorways, but you have to double check that they work in towns as well.
That is cool. Barrel
it's
into
common sense.
Yeah.
And,
barrel into the car. So Jeremiah, what do you find out then, boy?
Well, there's history to this place, and you know what I always say: never underestimate history, because it happened.
It happened. You're right there.
Mary Pym, we reckon she died sometime 1902 to 1903, a good 10 years before the father, or the husband, Arthur, and the son Edward died apparently during the Great War, 1912. However they died, they're buried up there alongside Mary, which was a break from tradition because all the other Pyms had been buried in that local churchyard. Edward didn't leave any heirs, so it passed to their servant, Reginald Pennyworth, and then down through his descendants. And the Pennyworths are buried up there as well. So something changed around this Mary Pym incident.
Seems like we're looking at something that's a little bit more than just a regular haunting kind of thing then.
Well, they had mentioned about unholy things going on up there. So, if there's been a change of how would we put it? A change of how they practice their religion. It seems to be around the time of Mary Pym.
Well, I suggest we'd head on up there then. After all, Matthew definitely seen something, and he said he only seen it when the sun was going down. He also was very insistent we don't go there at night, so I think we'll to be there.
We'll definitely do that.
Arrive before the sun sets and set up.
Okay, so you all load into the vehicle. You are able to catch up, and you drive on to Uxley Hall. The hall would have once stood over the fields and perhaps a small forest for shooting and general gentry life. But you can begin to see that the surrounding fields, the suburbia has begun to arrive. Developments are rolling into the fields as they're being tarmacked and changed. The hall itself is situated on a hill. It's only a slight incline, but it is noticeable even with the car's impressive suspension. And as you arrive, the hall itself is a late Edwardian style, lots of stone columns on the front. There appears to be a leak in either one of the gutterings or something else, and there's a continuous trickle of water coming out from the second-story window, which makes it look almost as if, with the way the windows are situated, as if the front of the house is a face and it's crying.
Oh, God.
I assume that's all perfectly fine. I also assume it's permanently raining anyway.
Just crackling so it's currently about 4 o'clock. So you've got some time before sunset. The driveway itself is gravelled, and you do have the keys. And it is still surrounded by a fair amount of now heavily overgrown garden. The hall itself has 3 stories: the ground floor, the first floor, and the second floor. And from the front, you can see a balcony on the first floor.
Well, gentlemen, shall we press on?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Let's get her opened up and get set up.
Okay, so you go up to the front door and unlock the with the skeleton key that looks. It's one of those keys that's large with a couple of hooks in, and the first thing that hits you is the smell. That wet, rotting smell of mold and of water, and it's stagnant water. That sound of it, that smell of ecology is brewing. Second thing that hits you is that there's like a slight chemical aftertang to the smell. Somewhere between stale vinegar and light bleach. The hallway itself is fairly long. The wallpaper is half rotted off the walls, but from what you can see, it looks as though there was some attempt at modernizing the house around about the 1950s, given the, shall we say, brave choice of pattern and colors. And the other thing that strikes you as you walk in is you note that the drapes and the curtains to the windows are all drawn. They're open a crack, but they're all drawn closed from what you can see.
Well, Matthew said he's seen a hanging woman upstairs in one of the bedrooms. So being that we know that that is possibly a focal point, I suggest we explore the rest of the house now and come back to that one when it's closer to being dark and we're likely to encounter her.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Yeah. I suppose we could stay together or we could split up and I'll do the spooky weird fingers when I say that.
Let's split up and look for clues.
Yeah.
I think it's probably better, you know yourself, to stay together in situations like these. At least until there's something to go on.
So there are several doorways.
Flashlight on. I assume there's not much light.
Especially with it being late afternoon and with the drapes closed, there is very little.
Yeah, I was going to say, any room I go into, my standard practice will be to open those and leave them open. Every time we go in a new room, I'll be open the window.
I've also loosened the catch on my firearm because I've seen enough of these situations go wrong, so I'm just at the ready, just in case.
Yep. So torches are out, hands are on weapons, or weapons are to hand on your belt. As you enter, there are the hall itself is relatively narrow. The rooms are still huge, but you see that the front door is on one end, and the majority of the rooms are laid out, so it's a long hall rather than a wide hall. As you make your way through, you see that there are various wall hangings where pictures of long rotted, and you see there are pools of water on the floor that you kind of sidestep. And as you look around, can I get a charisma saving throw of everyone, please? If you are psychic, you have disadvantage.
Oh, thank you. And I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form.
13 and a 4. So
okay.
Dice 13, roll dice 4.
I got 11.
18 and 11.
Okie dokie.
So 11.
So,
since it's disadvantage.
Okie dokie. So, Marcus and Francesca, you have it starts off very quickly as a tension headache. That feeling of someone wrapping something around your head and tightening it. And as you blink, the smell of the molds changes. It almost blossoms into this smell of not stagnant water, but of fresh water, of water pungent with things growing in it, alive in it, moving, teeming with life. And as you look around in the long man-made corridors, as you blink, you see a large black cave with hewn rocks, and you can smell the rubble under your feet. You can hear it crunch as you walk, and then you blink and it's gone. You're both going to take 4 psychic damage as the headache grows as you finally blink.
Oh, well, thanks for that.
You're welcome. I live to please.
Yeah, I'm just gonna Marcus is gonna rub his eyes and then see that Francesca's done the same and say, "Did you see what I see?"
I don't know. I definitely seen something though.
It was like a cave or something, and the smell of everything just heightened. Did you see this? Did you get the same thing, Jeremy?
Did I?
Jeremiah, you got a when you spell something and you have your face inadvertently tightens in the kind of I don't want that.
Yeah.
To you it was that, but you're able to bite it down because being a US Army chaplain, you've smelt not only the food that's meant to pass as food, but also when you spend 6 weeks out in the jungle, your general tolerance for smell goes one way and it's up.
So I smelled something. I didn't see anything, but yep, there's a smell, all right.
I did get the feeling about a cave. You said they were all buried up here. There's no crypt or mausoleum on the grounds, is there? Not that we seen driving up.
As far as they said, they were buried here, but they didn't give us any more information in that regard. There may be a graveyard somewhere out back in the grounds or something. Is the water looking like it's flowing into places, or is it all quite stagnant or in pools and stuff as well?
As you open a couple of doors and look in, the furniture that is left is rotted over 4 years of just disrepair and the water damage. But the water itself, where you can see it, is in pools, all leaking out of the walls occasionally. The main source of moving water that you saw was outside, that appeared to be coming from the second floor, flowing down. It wasn't flowing out of any of the gutters, which have long ago fallen away. It seemed to be coming from inside the house. And as you wander around, you open one door, you spot a couple of children's toys. Perhaps this was a nursery. And as you look in a mirror, the glass is frosted over. And outside, as everyone else turns into what appears to have once been a sitting room, given the state of the chairs, like the wing-back chairs where the arms have fallen off, there's a grandfather clock that's still ticking, but it's counting backwards.
That is weird.
I'll take a walk over to the grandfather clock and examine it up close.
Sure thing.
Is it genuinely counting backwards?
It is genuinely counting backwards, but you can hear the gears grinding on each other. It was clearly not designed to do this. And also, from the look of it, it is a wound grandfather clock. It does not have any mechanism to charge itself. And you do click over a couple of, not Matthew's tools, but signs that a survey has been taking place, spirit level and other things in here. The moisture damage in here does seem a lot more specific. It seems a lot more like it's one of the epicenters.
Did you say that there was like a mirror that was frosted over, was it?
Yes.
So when we breathe, is our breath cold? It's like, do you see the...
Not when you're walking around normally, no.
Okay.
In fact, it's quite mild. Or it was outside.
I'm going to go over to the mirror and I'm going to say, he just says out loud, I'm going to touch it. And then I'm just going to poke it or run my finger across it and see if it feels cold or different. Yeah.
It feels the condensation itself feels a bit cold, but as you run your finger over it, the mirror clears completely. So rather than a finger mark, the entire mirror clears.
Ooh.
Okay, well, that's weird.
Is it mounted on a wall? Or is it
It
freestanding?
is indeed. It's mounted on a wall, which, given the state of the wallpaper, is quite odd because, as I say, it looks like it's been rotting for quite a while.
Get it done.
And when before I am going to get it down, but as when I look in it, does the reflection look the same in the rest of the room? For like what I'm looking
you've
at?
not aged 100 years. You're not.
Okay, that's good then, right? Okay.
Congratulations.
You're not a
well done.
goblin. You know, it's
okay.
it's a
I'll
mirror.
reach up and take the mirror off the wall and see if there's anything behind it.
Yeah. Can you give me a investigation check, please?
Yes.
Jeremiah and Francesca, as you continue making your way through the ground floor, sweeping and clearing, opening the drapes wherever you can find them, you find a few things of note. You find a locked door, which appears to be to a cloakroom.
Okay.
By the size of the door and its location and the age of the house, it's something that you mostly see in Civil War era houses in the States, on the ground floor near an entrance, so people can put their things there, and a staircase that leads to a set of double doors that seem to have, they're still dilapidated, but they're still intact.
That's ascending to the first floor, yeah.
Stairs going up or going down?
Stairs going up.
Okie dokie.
You do indeed eventually find a set of stairs that lead down.
Definitely go down. Yeah.
Well,
no, I got a 14 again on the investigation check.
Okie dokie. So you take it down, you listen. It sounds like there's a burst pipe higher up that's like leaking through the wall. And you think you can hear, it's the sound of something scraping against the drywall, just ever so slightly.
Oh, God.
Be careful. That could be Yvette Fielding trying to get out.
Marcus will stand back and he'll just call back to the others and he'll just say, I can hear something like water in the walls, but there's like a scratching behind the paper and everything.
it's probably just rats. This place is infested with them.
Well, I hope it's rats, and I'll put the mirror down and walk away.
As you put the mirror down, as you like look at the mirror to place it down gently, there is a face in there with its jaw unhinged, its skin putrefied and wrapped against the bone, its eyes bulbous. Giving it a charisma saving throw to keep your cool and not break the mirror.
God damn it. Never touch the stuff in the house. Oh, God, I got a 3. So that's a 3, yeah.
So, Jeremiah and Francesca, you hear the sound of something glass falling and shattering. Marcus, the face in the mirror, as the mirror shatters, it remains in the spilled out over the different shards. Away! It's gone.
We'll call out to Marcus as I run back through the house towards him. Marcus, you all right? What's happened, honey?
So Marcus just sort of like rubs his eyes and has a look again in the glass, make sure there's nothing there. And then he says, there was a face in the glass and it said away. It had a horrible
mirror.
Descended jaw and everything.
Supposed to be a face in the glass if you're looking into it. It's a mirror.
And it wasn't my face. It was a different
Oh, that's
face.
different. Right. No, that is weird.
What I saw.
What you've said, Marcus, that is genuinely weird. Did you recognize them? Is it a man or a woman or a monster?
Was it a man's face or a woman's face? Or?
It was so deep into decomposition, and actually thinking back on it, it does look like it's usually that kind of decomposition is more common in people that have been submerged in water for a number of weeks, where they basically
they get all like bubbly.
Puff up, they all get bubbly, and then eventually it pops, which would then explain why there were gaps, and it was very tricky to identify.
It was like a drowned victim or something. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. It just said away, and that's what it said.
Do you have salt?
I didn't bring salt with me, no.
Who
I don't
has
think I have
salt?
salt.
You've just caused 7 years bad luck, man. You got to throw the salt.
Marcus reaches into his pocket and pulls out a starburst that he had in his pocket and throws it over his shoulder. So,
One way of doing it.
yeah.
Before we go down any further into this house, there is one locked door I want to have a look at, though. I'm assuming the key we got off Donald, or Mr. Donald,
you
was
try,
just a single
there
key,
are
or was it a ring?
It was a ring of different keys. Where you've been checking through other rooms, it does appear that this still has like a tradesman entrance, a back door, which all appear to have different locks. But this particular lock looks newer, more kind of it's a Yale lock, which there isn't a Yale key on the ring of keys. You can, if you so wish, in your standard equipment, you do all have a bobby pin for
Picking.
I believe the technical term is gaining dynamic entry and not leaving any.
Well, gaining dynamic entry will happen after we fail to unlock this door and we just put the shoulder to it. So,
Lock.
is any of you actually good at picking?
It would be a dexterity steady hands check, which is
I'm pretty
replace
good at
sleight
that.
of hand.
I'm pretty good at that. Yeah, I can do that.
Because medics do need some decent hand-to-eye coordination rather than poking at the eye rather than putting the cause over it.
Yeah.
So Marcus will sort of stop his shaking for a second and sort of take a deep breath, and then he'll go and have a go at the lock. And he just, as he's doing, he just says, "If there's a face on the other side, I'm going." Oh, for God's sake! So that's 10. I got 10. No
Yep.
bad things on the dice, but 10 on the other dice.
10 is enough because it is just a Yale lock, and that is a easy check. You are also a medic with very fine hand-to-eye coordination. It opens, and at first, it's rather anticlimactic because there's no bodies, there's no pentagrams, it's just a normal cloakroom. And then you look at it and go like, it's almost as if this is because there's no damp, there's no mold, there's no mildew, there's no rot around the hinges of the door. It's not pristine, but it's definitely much more preserved.
And anything in it at all? As I shine my torch.
Doesn't appear to be, no.
No, just a locked, empty room.
Marcus will stand back and he'll go, "Well, you guys can go first this time."
I'll walk in.
Yeah, it's like a 5-foot cupboard.
Yeah.
In essence, you bang your flashlight on the walls just to check for like priest holes or other similar secret things, and nothing's forthcoming.
Well, I think, gentlemen, onwards and downwards.
I'll just before we go, I'll go, Jeremy, put your ear to the wall and see if you can hear anything, because I heard scratching before. See if there's something like that coming through the wall.
I told you it'd be rats.
You can hear the distinct sound of running water from perhaps a burst pipe. Other than that, you can't make anything out.
Okay.
Nothing then? Fair enough. Maybe it was just a spooky mirror.
Oh, well, I'm not going back near that anyway.
Let's go down.
I think so. Who wants to take the lead?
I'll do that.
I knew you would. This is great.
The military
Behind me, children of
through.
my flock. The power of Christ compels thee.
Jeremiah, have a point of ingenuity. Who is bringing up the rear? It's a fairly narrow staircase.
Well, we've searched up here, so we know it's safe. So I'll bravely take up the rear.
Marcus is silently thanking the Lord that he's in the middle.
And the minister
the guy
keeps
2
his mouth
months.
shut.
2 months from retirement, I'll bring up the rear. Okay, so you walk your way down the, relying much more heavily on your flashlight because, of course, it leads down to a basement where there are no windows, no light sources. Can I get a group investigation check? Field agents, which are currently Marcus and Francesca, you do have an ability called Teamwork.
Yes.
You can expend a use, and everyone involved in the group check generates ingenuity on one additional number. So,
so I'm going to pop my Teamwork. I think for this, so I'm going to use one version of that. So,
okie dokie.
Okay. We do
so everyone generates. So if one of you uses it, it's people generate ingenuity on a 9 or a 10. If two of you use it, it's on an 8, 9, or 10.
Oh, we'll do that then.
Okay.
Cool. So I'll pop that.
Yeah. So it's intelligence investigation.
Well, I got a crit. So, but you can't crit on a skill check anyway, can you? So you can't crit on a skill check, but because it's a natural 20 outside of a combat encounter, you do generate an additional point of ingenuity. Way perfect. Cool.
It's just a way of good dice rolls still mattering.
Awesome. So so that's 27 in total for that investigation.
Oh,
outrageous! I got 16, but I also got a 10, so I get a point of ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
You're being awfully quiet there, Jeremiah.
Did you roll a 1?
I wasn't part of it.
It
was only you two that could do it, apparently.
Oh, yeah. No, we were boosting the Teamwork thing.
We were using Teamwork, so you can still do it.
I can still roll, yeah? All right, okay.
Yep. You can still roll, and you still benefit from it. It's just a question of...
I got a 9 on the D20 and a 2 on the D10.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
You're so sure of your holy purpose.
Yeah.
Marching through. You're fairly sure the door's unlocked, but you still give it a hefty shoulder barge just because got all the dominance to whatever may or may not be in the room.
Sounds like Jeremiah, yeah.
So with so the doors swing open, the torchlight floods the area. This appears to be a wine cellar. The various bottles having long been picked clean. There are several that look as though they've got mold growing out of them where the seals eroded over time. And as you sweep across it's very damp in here with the cement floor, cement walls, very claustrophobic. It's one of those things where you feel like when you're breathing in, you can almost feel the algae beginning to grow in the lining of your lungs. It's not particularly pleasant. Marcus, from your central position, shall we say, as you continue down, you notice that as Jeremiah gets a bit of a run up for the shoulder bash, one of the floor tiles to the step, they're all stone, but there's a distinct one of them wobbles as if it's not cemented in.
Okay, so as he sort of winds up to go down and cross over that, I'll grab his arm and sort of move him to the side and point out the cobble and be like, something unsure there. Watch it. Watch your feet.
Thank you kindly. So did he save me?
Yep.
Right. We want to investigate that. Either it's a button or there's something under it.
So we'll sort of step around the side of it and we'll have a poke at it and see what it actually is, whether or not it was just a trap of some kind or something more.
You lift up the stone fragment of the step, and underneath is a brass key.
Oh, I'll pick up the key. Yeah, definitely touch everything you find in a haunted house. Pick up the key.
Yep.
There we go. Well, this might save us smashing down some more stuff.
Say that now.
Wait. Listen, can you smell something? Did we go into Mary Pym's bedroom yet?
No,
not yet. No. We're going down to explore the basement.
All right, so this is part of the explore everywhere else,
yeah.
except for Mary Pym's room.
Yeah. We're going to go there after this. Yeah.
That's okay.
She only appears at night, so
Just check.
there's no point in disturbing her too early.
Yeah.
A lady likes to have her beauty sleep.
So we've not smashed down the door yet, have we? So, and we found the key.
You can open it with that key.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I'll pass you the key. I'm not going through. I'll pass you the key.
I have the key.
Yeah.
I have the key.
I'll make a note. Jeremiah has the key.
Going over to the door to see if there's a hole to stick the key.
There is a hole. There is a keyhole, as some would call it. However, this key does not fit this keyhole, and as you push it, the door swings open, and you see the scene as I described earlier. It's a wine cellar where
Yes.
plugged clean.
Yeah. I give the key back to the doctor.
Okay,
cool. I'll pocket that for later.
We have to a scientist, so I give it back to him. You can keep the key.
You investigate down here.
Mm-hmm.
There are several, they look like servants' quarters. There's enough second-hand junk to perhaps open a small tourist attraction or a similar retail establishment with just the amount of reprints of bad books from the 1940s.
Okay.
It looks like they've been given over to storage.
Yeah, I'll have a look around to see if there's anything down here that has a lock on it, Like root around for like a chest or anything? No, nothing like that? No.
It doesn't appear to be, but with your 27 from earlier, Marcus, you think you hear the floorboards and the water kind of moving up on the ground floor.
So I'm going to put my finger to my lips and just point up and listen, point to my ear for everyone to listen to the floorboards creaking.
Can I get a group perception check, please? Marcus, you will have advantage because of your...
Good old advantage, because I rolled a 3. So
21.
I rolled a 4 and an 8.
So that's 15.
Jeremiah, you can spend a point of ingenuity if you wish to boost the result of a D20 roll by a D6, if you so wish.
Yeah, I only have one ingenuity, so I could use that. Yep, let's do it. Okay. 6.
Well, hey.
What's that be up to? 14? Plus your perception.
Plus your modifier, yeah, for perception.
Well, no, wait. I was a 4 on the big
you were 4.
So that has now taken me to a 10.
10, so 12 then total.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you listen out, and Jeremiah, having been people saying that they hear things that you've not heard, you crane to hear, you call upon your years of experience, listening for the clicks of mines or similar threats. And then above ground, you hear it's the wet sound. It's the sound of wet paper crunching. Well, not quite crunching, kind of ripping in that undramatic way when the wallpaper is very, very damp.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear it's just a slight depression, but with the rackety, mouldy floorboards, you hear it's whatever it is. It sounds fairly heavy. It's a light touch, but then the immediate kind of afterwards, it's a lot of weight on a very small area.
That's not right.
I don't know what the hell I'm hearing. I'm hearing depressed, watery paper tearing undynamically.
I guess that means someone's above us. I thought there was no one else in this place.
All I can tell you is it sounds evil to me.
It doesn't seem like there's anything else down here for us. We should probably go back upstairs. At least find out what that noise was.
Why don't we shoot through the ceiling?
You can't just shoot everything. You gotta go and investigate it. You can't just shoot it. What if it makes it worse? Again, Marcus looks at his phone, realizes there are 2 months left to retirement.
Might make it better, Marcus. Let's just shoot through the ceiling, man.
Marcus has flashbacks to all those personal development seminars that he has to go to as part of his transition to his new job about resource management and risk aversion.
Keep the bullets for the bad things. Just wait, all right?
Okay.
Right, so I'm going to make my way back towards the stairs and head back up, see if I can find the
You make your way up the staircase. As you exit the staircase itself, you see out of one of the pools of water a Y-shaped footprint. It's a large footprint, almost clown size, like size 13. And it's got 2 central kind of tendrils and then a central one that goes back. So it's like a large Y footprint, and it appears to be going upstairs.
That's probably a wading bird.
Or a dinosaur.
We've seen weird stuff, so it may be a dinosaur.
Shall we go upstairs then?
Yeah, we'll follow it. I've unholstered my weapon as well now.
We know that it's not a duck. So we can rest easy at least on that front. It's not going to be a duck.
That's very true. Right.
We're all going up the stairs.
Yeah, I've got my pistol out at the ready just in case. Yeah.
Yep. So you make your way up the staircase, and as the hallway itself it opens up into a T, so there's a small corridor that then opens up to the left and right. Mm-hmm. Are you going in the same order, the same kind of order?
I think so.
Yes.
I'll go first.
Okay. There's 2 doors, one to your left, one to your right on the shorter corridor. And as I say, the hallway opens up there's 3 or 4 doors. As you round the corner on the hallway, Jeremiah, can you make me a dexterity saving throw?
Mm-hmm.
You will have advantage because you are on edge from noticing it earlier.
16. So
you're able to duck down as you hear the air displacement as this green and blue 3-taloned limb slashes out with these long hooked talon nails. So it swings around and hunched over, but still standing over 6'5", with this bulbous body of hardened green skin up to these wide bulbous eyes and these shark-like grinning teeth. Stands the frog monster as it yets out an ear-piercing screech. And with that, can we roll initiative, please?
Oh, okay.
It does not get surprised because you noticed it earlier.
Cool. Do we roll the D10 with initiative as well?
It's a result determined by D20, so you roll it. And you can use ingenuity to boost your initiative if you so wish.
Cool. I got 10. Plus initiative. I got 12 on my initiative. So
okay.
I got a 1.
Ideal. I got 16.
Okay. So, Francesca, you're up first.
I am, however, at the back.
Yes, you are. The staircase is about 10 foot wide and about 15 foot long.
I'll draw my sidearm and hold my action as I attempt to wait and see if I can get in a bit better position to fire where I don't accidentally double tap the priest.
You could try and there are doorways to the left and right that are closer to where the hallway opens out. You could try and dart into one of them. And
I'm okay on the stairs at the moment. I'm not going to start opening other doors. GM. We're all fine here.
Deal with the threat that we can see.
Marcus, over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to use one of my I'm going to use a bonus action to use name them and break them. So I've got the pistol at the ready. So I'm going to attempt a focus check, which is the D20 roll on, it's a DC 10, isn't it, on the Constitution?
Yep, it's 8 plus half your proficiency rounded up. So at this level, proficiency being 3, so it's 10.
And this will allow me to do one of the special actions that we can do, which is this, which I'll go into, hopefully, if I pass this. So, I did. I got 16, so that's all good. Right, cool.
Okay, so you activate name them and break them.
Yeah, so this allows the first creature you damage with an attack suffers disadvantage on all attack rolls until the start of your next turn. So I'm sort of going for like a shot at the arm, just to try and like disable the arm as it goes in for another swipe at Jeremiah. So yes, it's an attack roll, which is +5. Let's hope I hit. That'll be I did. I got 19 +5, so that's 24 to hit.
Yep, you're able to hit it squarely in one of its socket joints.
Cool. And then
damage on a pistol is 2d10. Because it is a firearm, you do not add your modifier, but they have large damage dice.
Cool. Yeah. So that is 17 damage.
Ooh, so you bring it up and you fire off a shot, and it goes squarely into the bulbous flesh, and purple ichor starts leaking out of it. And you are a field agent. You have double tap, so when you take the attack action, you can do that again if you wish.
Yes.
Well,
I'm definitely going to do that.
Field agents have multi-attack. They're going to be one of the only classes that do have them because they are used to dealing with oddities.
Okay, so this will just be a normal shot, won't it, compared to the first one? So so that second one is a 17 +5, so that's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 to hit as well.
Easily hit. So you go for it doesn't quite hit in the other shoulder perfectly, but still a very solid central mass hit.
Oh my god, and that's 16 damage. Bloody hell! I can't roll to search things on Wikipedia, but I can shoot stuff. So
there's a reason we brought you. It wasn't for the research.
Yeah, and with that, it kind of recoils back, snarling. It's as it snarls this long tongue that's made more like teeth and growths begins falling out of its mouth.
Delightful.
And it's going to take a swing at Jeremiah, but it's got disadvantage. So that's going to be a whopping 10 to hit, which I assume misses.
Yeah, what's your AC?
Against your AC?
My AC is 11.
Yep.
Just about missed.
Okay.
It's very easy to hit things in Hellboy the RPG, but like players have damage resistances due to their equipment. Monsters have damage reduction. So it's one of those things of things get hit a lot more, but it's a question of managing the damage. So it swings out with its taloned hand again, but you're able, where you've stood back earlier, you're kind of able to angle yourself so it swings wide, and the talon digs into one of the walls, tearing at the wallpaper in the drywall wall.
Lovely.
Jeremiah, is that your turn?
I then deploy well supplied. You can remember that you have one tiny or small item of equipment that is not in your inventory sheet in one of your pockets. You have 2 uses of this ability. You regain all uses when you return to base. I pull a sachet of salt out of my pocket and I furiously throw it over Dr. Marcus's shoulder.
That was a very good use.
and try to see if I can make all this go away.
Okay. Also, that's your free interaction with the world.
I'm going to. Can I do something to his tongue? Like his
Certainly.
tongue,
What would you?
Is the tongue stuck in the wall at the moment? Is it?
His taloned hand's currently stuck in, and the tongue's kind of unfurled, kind of hanging loosely.
Right. I have a sidearm.
Yep. You do also have a utility knife.
That's what I was looking for. I'm going to whip out my utility knife.
Yep.
And I'm going to cut off his tongue.
Legit. So can you make me so if you spend a point of ingenuity, I will say that we will treat that a certain certain way, I think will up the damage as
Did
you.
I? No, remember I used my point.
Oh right. Yeah.
Did I get a point of ingenuity whenever they did that?
No, sorry, I'm misremembering. Right. So you swing out. I don't think the outcome's in doubt. So you stab at the tongue. The damage on a utility knife is 2d4. Plus your strength modifier.
Okay, so 4 and a 3, so that's 7. Plus my strength modifiers. Plus 1. Yeah.
So you stab into the center of your ear. One of the barbs on the tongue crunch, and you drag it back, and purple liquor sprays out, and the creature grabs at it like it's a hose that's running rampant, and it starts gargling, eventually starts falling to the floor, spasming, tearing chunks out of itself with its taloned claws as it tries to grab at its bleeding tongue until finally it stops moving.
You can loot that body if you want. I'm not touching it.
I think the doctor should perform a post-mortem on it.
Marcus is visibly sweating, and again in his internal in his internal monologue, he's thinking, "Well, it wasn't lizard people, but it was close."
What do you think we should do? Should we cut it open? Should we inspect this thing? First things first, let's look at its feet.
Yeah, so we're keeping an eye on the feet, see if they're the same kind of shape as the pattern.
They are. Yeah. They are Y-shaped, like the prints that you saw earlier.
Okay. That's
cool.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a. Sounds weird. I'm gonna give it a sniff and see if it smells like that weird, like taste we've had in our at the back of our mouths, kind of thing. Is that sort of like? Is it the similar smell? Or
yeah, it's very similar. That kind of off vinegar, pseudo chemical sting. As you kind of like look it over, and you can see with its mouth open, its things. You can see it's got glands that seem to secrete a black. You assume some kind of venom that begins ichering out and filling its mouth. As before your eyes, it seemingly begins almost not quite shrinking, but almost deflating. It's
okay, so I think maybe we might have found the source of the weirdness going on in this house. What that relates to with the ghost, I'm not entirely sure.
I'm a little bit concerned as to where that came from, because it wasn't on the ground floor whenever we were.
It sort of pulled itself out of the floor or the wall, didn't it?
I don't know. It's not right.
According to the tracks, that would track. The tracks would track. They seemingly emerged out of the staircase that you were going down. Because the tracks start on that back on the ground floor, coming from that staircase.
Well, how did it get past us? And is there
we were down in the basement. So
it's not right.
Right, I'm gonna track. Right. I'm gonna track it back to where it came from and see if we can if there's more of like a visible opening and stuff from where it was.
Sure thing. Can you roll me an investigation check?
Yeah.
You do not have disadvantage because you noticed things earlier. Meanwhile, upstairs, are you investigating any rooms?
Yeah. Well, now that thing's dead.
Mm-hmm. We should go left, right?
Right, left. Just the first door we come to then on our left.
Yes.
Okay. You swing open the door. It looks like servants' quarters is the first room on your left. You sweep and clear a couple of other rooms. You find a bathroom that sounds as though it's got a leak coming from one of the pipes, which is perhaps the source of the external leak that's bathed the house in some odd vibes, shall we say. And then in one of the rooms you recognize the description from when you were speaking to Matthew. There's a dresser in the corner and a dilapidated, what once been a 4-poster bed. The wardrobes, the doors have fallen off. And as you enter this room, the door slams shut behind you.
Oh, delightful. I will spin round like Scully with gun in one hand and torch going wildly all over the place in the other.
Yeah, you don't appear to see anything.
Reach out very gingerly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, torch into my teeth. I reach out with my free hand to try the door while still keeping the gun up.
You open it, it's not locked, but it's as if someone's snuck up right behind you. It's right in your ear.
Oh.
Away!
Did you hear that, Father Peters?
Yep.
Make me a charisma saving throw. Psychics have disadvantage. Ordained ministers such as Jeremiah have advantage. Meanwhile, downstairs...
Yeah, so I got 23 on my check. For the,
okay, so you're able to find that there is one of the walls on the staircase leading down to the cellar is false. And as you walk back into the cellar itself, one of the kind of slabs, there is an opening for perhaps a key.
Okay, well, I'm not going anywhere by myself, so I'm gonna hoof it back up the stairs towards.
Yep.
Well, as much as Marcus can hoof it, I'm gonna hoof it back upstairs. Yeah.
Gun's still out sweeping left and right.
Yep. Yeah.
I got another point of ingenuity, which will give me some solace because I got 4. Can I spend that ingenuity to re-roll that? Or
you can spend that ingenuity to add a d6 to it.
add a d6.
You do have an ability as a remarkable human to re-roll a failed saving throw. I believe it's called... It's either do or die.
Do or die. I have 2 of those. I will use one of those do or dies.
Yep, so you can re-roll it. Jeremiah, what do we get?
Well, that's better.
Charisma saving throw, you have advantage. Sorry?
9.
With advantage?
You roll twice. Pick your best.
2. It's a 9.
Okay.
So my reroll give me 20.
Okay. Jeremiah, would you like to expend the use of do or die to...
Yes, please. Yes.
Certainly. So you can re-roll the check because you had the save rather, and because you had advantage on the save, you get advantage on the rate roll.
I have 2 uses of it, and I can re-roll a failed save. Okay. So
it's just that idea that remarkable humans, knowing that mortality is fragile.
17.
17. You feel the telltale pulls of things trying to claw their way back from the great beyond to find a route here on God's green earth, but you're able to rally yourself and know that though you walk through the shadow of creepy houses and broken mirrors, you need fear no evil, for you have salt in your pocket and Jesus in your heart.
Excellent.
Francesca, similarly, you felt it before. It's usually when you're trying to open yourself for seances or psychometry, but this isn't you opening the phone line on your end. This is someone trying to knock in the door, pick up the phone, and hit you over the head with it.
Delightful.
But your hand is on the door. It's able to open.
I think I'll stand semi in the hallway with Father Peters. Definitely there's something here. There's a force, a power trying to get through. I don't know who it is or what it is, and I just keep getting this away, whether they're trying to drive people out or they're trying to have somebody removed from them. I don't know.
Marcus, it's at this point that you catch up with them, and as they are, as Francesco appears to be reporting on something, with where you round the corner, you look into the room, whereas Francesco and Jeremiah have kind of got one eye on the room, one eye on each other as they're talking. In the corner, you see movement, and then you all hear that bone crunching sound again, like Marcus, you distinctly hear it. It's the pop of something being dislocated. And as you turn to look at it, hanging from an unseen noose is this mummified like individual, the skin wrapped around her once very pronounced cheekbones, her jaw unhinged, swaying, dressed in a lace nightgown down to her ankles, swinging, her eyes unblinkingly, piercingly staring into your very soul. Everyone please roll initiative.
Roll initiative. Oh, God.
16.
Oh, I rolled a 1, so that's a doom to you.
Better than that.
Indeed.
I rolled a 1 as well.
Oh, there we go.
And I got 11.
I got 15 initiative in total. So.
Okay, so we've got... so Marcus got 15, Francesca got 11?
11. Yep.
11, and Jeremiah got...
16.
Ooh, so Jeremiah, what would you like to do? You can make an occult roll to try and recall how to deal with ghosts.
Yes, let's do that.
Certainly. So if you make me a intelligence occult roll.
Mm-hmm. And I got an 18.
You're fairly certain from the field reports. And
I got a 1 on the other dice, though.
Oh, okay.
Doom, more doom. Oh, no.
The pendulum doth swing back. The dice gods give it, the dice gods take it away. You do recall fairly solidly that the reports are that, you do know that they are immune to most physical damage due to the fact that they're etheric, unless they're manifesting or possessing someone, and then the link opens them up to more mundane damage. One way that you recall from your time in as a chaplain is that ghosts can be exorcised. They can be expelled forcibly, either from individuals or from areas.
Yeah.
But you think shooting it is more likely to annoy it rather than harm it. Equally, you are aware that some psychics are able to damage them or open communication with them.
I'm just seeing if I have a skill here that would allow me to conduct an exorcism.
You do. You have the ordained feat, so you can attempt the rite of exorcism, if you so wish, as an action.
Oh, let's give it a go.
Okay, so the pistol goes back in the holster. The rosary comes out.
I've got this. Book in hand.
Book, bell, and candle.
Yep.
So the way performing rituals work is, so you make a intelligence occult check, but instead of rolling 1d10 for doom and ingenuity, you roll 3.
Oh, right. Well, okay, so I'll roll them first.
Yep.
What was that? 6, 10.
Floor.
And a 9. And now for my red dice.
Yeah.
And that is a 15.
Okay, so the way it works is that the kind of initial test is to see how well you kind of elocute the actual rite, which is determined by the level of the ritual. And exorcism is a second level ritual. It's fairly common. So you breeze through that. So you get 1 success for performing that. You then generate a point of ingenuity. So that's 2 successes. It's a second level ritual and you've got 2 successes. So immediately you're able to call out, and its immediate effect on the localized area is she begins to seem more solid, more tangible as she's pulled another way across from the veil, back to the light, back to life.
Okay. Does our
Mhm.
psychic want to jump in at this stage and see?
I don't know if I do, but I'll give it a go.
Marcus, is there anything you wish to do? Just with the initiative order?
Yeah, so as Jeremiah starts calling out and doing the exorcism, like Marcus has gone white as a sheet. And again, he's thinking back to his 2 months from retirement. So he's going to stand at the end of the hall and he's going to keep an eye back the way we came, just in case anything else is going to come up after them. So he's going to keep his gun trained behind him. So
as Jeremiah lets out, I think Jeremiah is not a remotely quiet praying type. There is fire and brimstone in this, right? You don't recall any of the movies referencing, do you have to bring brimstone into it? But Jeremiah has. And Francesca, what would you like to do? Holy water is being thrown from his overflowing flask. In fact, I think he's not even using a flask. Is that a water bottle? But it seems to be doing something.
Fill the canteen with it.
Power of Christ compels thee.
I'm going to attempt a psychic invasion.
Ooh, getting fancy. Okay, then. So you're going to attempt to manifest your psychic abilities, which is a charisma check, because it's your force of will making your powers listen to you rather than where they want to go.
Yep.
So it's a charisma saving throw. Yep.
Do I suppose I can roll first and then see whether or not I want to add ingenuity to it.
Yep.
So hang on, grab D10 as well. 10. I think I will spend a point of ingenuity.
That is enough. It's the DC is determined by your level. It's half your level rounded down, so it's 10, and you are an agent. You've met a DC or an AC, therefore you've beaten it. Okay. Anyone that isn't an agent, if they meet it, they fail, because they're not the main characters of the graphic novel. You guys are.
That makes sense. We are the important people. So reaching out with my mind, then.
So the ghost makes the way this works is it's a battle of wills. So I, as the ghost, make a charisma check, and you, as the psychic, make a charisma check, and we see whose will overpowers who.
Oh, smashing. I wish I had more charisma. Oh, I really wish I had more charisma. 4? Do you beat 4?
Would you like to spend some ingenuity to
would love
that?
To. Yeah. On the table. +6, that brings me up to 10. Is it only 1 point at a time you can spend?
You can spend as many as you want.
Oh, I'm not willing to let 10 go. 10's too 50-50 for me. Spend the negative.
Okay. Yep.
11. Oh, that was well spent. 11 then.
To make you feel better, she got 10.
Hey!
So you immediately win, you're able to overpower, and you immediately deal 2d6 psychic damage to her. Because this is a psychic invasion, that overcomes any resistance she would have. She's also been pulled back through with the exorcism, which then makes her vulnerable to it, so she'll take double this.
10 doubled.
So 10 double to 20. So there's a shriek, and she pops out of existence from where she was hanging. And Francesca, in front of you, she re-emerges, but she's not physically there. She's looking at you through a window. And can you make me it will be a dexterity saving throw.
It's not getting any better. Oh, no, well, no, it's exactly the same as my charisma, +1. Get proficiency for saving throws, though, yes?
Yep.
So 11.
11 isn't quite enough, sadly. Yeah. So, Marcus and Jeremiah,
Can I spend my last point of ingenuity?
You certainly can.
It was so nice to have points of ingenuity. That pushes me to 15. Is that any better?
So, for a moment, Francesca, you feel yourself being lifted up by your neck by an unseen noose. You kind of but you're able to take a step forward and you step back down, avoiding being hiked up by this unseen etheric noose. And with that, the window that she was in cracks and crunches.
Mm-hmm.
And she then emerges. She then appears hovering over the bed. But this time, instead of screaming or gnarling, you can hear her sobbing as she slowly falls to the ground.
Right.
What's the matter, darling? Try and approach her and see if she actually notices me, or is it just something she's going through the motions with?
Can you make me an intuition check?
Mary doll. You okay, Mary?
Okay, you've used her name, so that will give you advantage.
Oh,
That's better
cool.
again.
Because ghosts, as you will all know, the older they are, the less they remember of themselves. So the less links they have back to their once lost humanity.
17.
Nice.
She doesn't speak in words. She speaks in, again, images, smells, sounds. You all feel like the ting on your mind. You get the feeling that if you were open to it, you would hear something, but she's not forcing it on you like other visions. There's signs that there's there's a tombstone on the second floor in one of the bedrooms. And it's raining in there. And then there's the staircase that Marcus, you discovered earlier, and you see frogs hopping up the stairs one by one. And downstairs you hear the croaks of a swarm of them.
Okay.
We should investigate that tombstone.
Aye, don't worry, Mary. We're here to help. Just back gently away.
Go to the light, Mary. Go to the light.
Thank you, Father Peters, for that.
This is the point where we need Derek Cora.
We can have a seance and try and summon him.
We would only find out that Mary loves Dick. But actually, we know that Mary loves Arthur. So
That is true. Yeah. Unless that's why she was murdered. She loved Richard.
Let's talk to Mary. Let's ask her some stuff. You're psychic, Francesca. You talk to her. Talk to Mary. Talk to that woman. Find out what's happening.
Do your heathen metaphysical
Yes.
things.
Well, while this is happening, by the way, Marcus is sort of backed up to the door. He's still looking down the corridor just in case, but he's just sort of keeping an ear and sort of listening to what's going on.
Can I get let's mix it up. It will be a wisdom investigation because it is your overall perception, but you're looking for things that are different because you know that these things move in odd ways. So it'd be your wisdom modifier plus if you're proficient in the investigation skill, your proficiency bonus, which is 3.
Cool. Okay, I rolled a 1, so there's Doom there. This is going so well. And then that takes me to 11 on my wisdom investigation there.
Okay, we will return to that at a dramatically appropriate moment. Meanwhile, back in the room. Jeremiah, where you're in the staircase, you and Marcus have seen that there is a staircase leading up. The staircase that you came up leads up to the second floor, if you so wish. Francesca, was there, or does anyone want to try and investigate anything else in Mary's room or with Mary?
I will try and talk to her a bit more.
She seems stuck in a loop. You've heard stories about it in B.P.R.D. Some ghosts, like you've heard of, like the legend Agent Jonathan and Klaus, who has been able to retain his memories and his consciousness. But some ghosts, after a while, they become almost like a broken record. They're living through the same trauma over and over again, trying to increasingly clutching at whatever's holding them back.
Okay.
Do you want to try and connect into that trauma?
Not particularly, no.
Power of Christ compels you.
Doesn't compel me, Peters. Jog on, son, if you think I can try and connect with whatever trauma drove her to kill herself.
But did she kill herself?
I will attempt to talk to her again and see if we get anything more than just images and flashes.
It only appears to be images and flashes, but you do get the distinct feeling. It's the feeling of being dragged by your neck. You can feel the rope around you, and you hear 2 sets of footsteps. And as you look up, the faces are fuzzy. You think it's Marcus and Jeremiah, dragging you into this room where it was once resplendent and a place of happiness. Happiness.
Leave me alone.
and then she pops and she's seemingly gone.
He was murdered. Clear.
Mm.
The husband and the son did it. Now we've got to find out why. That gravestone on the second floor in the rainy room. We should go there.
Lead on, Macduff. Are you coming, Marcus?
Lead the way. We head towards the gravestone in the rainy room.
You head towards the gravestone.
I was going to say, while they're walking, I'll say, I found where that key goes, by the way. There's a passageway down further where that creature came out of. We might want to go and have a look at that later, but maybe those are the things that drove him all mad.
Jeremiah, your phone pings. You set an alarm for sunset. Sunset is happening now.
Huh.
Sunset's happening now.
That probably explains why we've seen Mary.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, let's make our way to this grave, where the vision of the graveyard.
You make your way up, laser focused. You open the door, and there are several frames still on the wall, mirrors. There's a bed that's still recognizable as one. And as you enter, in the mirrors, there's no frost on them, there's no fogging up, but in blood, slowly drawn, so the word dripping out of the glass itself. Leave now.
I think we should do that.
The door doesn't slam shut, it slams through the door frame, opening back out into the hallway. The hinges crunch and crack as they shatter.
Right.
Is this is the room that's exposed to the elements? The roof?
The exposed roofing was on the first floor, which is a larger floor. This is a much smaller floor. It's almost, in a modern construction, it would probably convert it into a very large, spacious, like penthouse or attic, but it's carved up into several different rooms.
And it's raining in this room.
It doesn't appear to be raining in this room currently. In the vision, it was.
In the vision, it was raining, but not now. Is there a gravestone in the room?
There is not a gravestone in the room. There are just bleeding mirrors and bleeding portraits. And as you, as the door shatters back out, the blood spills off the mirrors, and then it doubles back and writes it again on the rotting wallpaper. And this time the door goes to swing, but the hinges are gone. It just flies out of its place into the hallway.
I think they might want us to leave.
Oh, when's that ever stopped us in the past?
I was gonna
the mirror.
Stop shooting everything. Says the person who shot the beast. I'm gonna try and think back to, like, I've not learned much about like the occult side of things too much. I've been almost like the medic, and that's kind of been it. But I'm gonna try and think back to, like, if I've heard anything about these kind of frog creatures making people go mad. I'm going to see if I can.
You can roll me a intelligence occult. As you're casting your eye back on the corridor, having not quite got into the room because you're just remembering 2 months, 60 days, 1,000 and so many hours, keeping an eye out. Inside the room, as the door crunches open, a spectral figure begins appearing seemingly walking out of the blood that's covered the mirror and the wall. It's a balding, middle-aged man with thinning hair. He looks more like the type that would be found in an occult bookshop than in a stately home.
Okay.
He wanders out, and you hear, "Bad luck."
Bad luck?
Points to the mirror and like starts almost drawing in the blood like fragments as if it's broken.
Oh, you broke. Marcus, say something science-y to him. You ask him, are you ghost menstruating right now or something. I was like,
Right. So I'll turn to the ghost, and I'll say, or the apparition, and I'll say, have I caused more bad luck for you?
Its head kind of cocks and then it keeps on rolling.
What I'm going to say? What caused bad luck for? What was it that brought such crazy pain into this house?
Born in sin, the sins of the father walk upon my path. For in darkness they were conceived, and in darkness they shall all return. For we are all born in the dark, in sin.
let's find out who he is. Francesca, can you?
I don't think I can. There's only.
I'm going to ask him. Can I talk to him? Can I try and talk to this ghost?
Yeah, you can talk to him. Yeah.
Who are you?
He bows. Edward Pennyworth.
It's the sun. It's the sun. No, it's not.
It's one of the retainers.
It's no, yeah, because right, Edward Pennyworth. Now, Edward was the name of. Hang on a second here. So, the husband of Mary was Arthur, and they had a son called Edward. Right, but surely that would be Edward Pym, unless Reginald
Born in sin.
Born. Ooh. This is all starting to click into place here. I reckon old Reginald and Mary might have had an illegitimate son in Edward.
I think that's why why Mary was killed then.
I think Arthur and Edward then decided that they were going to inflict a punishment upon Mary. So, is your father Reginald? No answer to that one. It was worth a try. What do we do?
You walk in the dark, you do not see. You do not know the perversions, you do not see the false temple, you do not know the true home.
I think this relates to that tunnel that we got down below this house. I think something made them go all kinds of crazy. I think we need to go down there and find out what's in the darkness.
We have two options. One, we go into your tunnel. Two, we get him.
I think we go for the tunnel.
Oh, okay, let's go to the tunnel then.
Yeah.
My father and my brother sleep there.
I think we need to put an end to that so that we can...
Whoa. My father and my brother. This is getting... Right. I'm going to draw a family tree.
This is like that episode in Hot Fuzz where he says...
Okay, let's go to the tunnel.
Lives there with his mother and his sister.
He reaches up a hand and shouts, leave. And as you look to the hallway where you've both all been kind of drawn into a ghost talking and making some semblance of sense, there are two even larger. This time they're blue-skinned and like got purple kind of underbelly, and they're closest to 7 foot tall. And one of their tongues lashes out at a range of about 10 foot. Can everyone please roll initiative?
Oh, God damn.
No.
Oh.
18.
Okay.
I got 3 in total.
I got
Would you like to
18.
boost that with some ingenuity?
I got 18, but I also got a point of doom for you.
Ooh, it goes upwards.
I'm going to boost it with an ingenuity. So I'm going to spend an ingenuity to roll a d6 and add that in. So Up to 4. There we go.
Okay, so Francesca, what did you get?
18.
And Jeremiah?
18.
So you can pick between the two of you. Who wants to go first?
Francesca.
Okay. Well volunteered, voluntold.
I'm going to attempt to...
There are 2 of them. I will. Yep.
That's all right. I'll step into the corridor to the right and then attack the one that's directly ahead of me on the right.
Sure thing.
Now, with double tap, I can ignore firing twice to get an advantage on a single attack.
Yes, if you so wish.
I do wish. I shall give that a
Okay. Cool.
So
2d20, but because it's one result, only 1d10.
Okay. Ooh. Either an 18 or a natural 20. I think I'll take a natural 20, please.
Okay, so the way criticals work, you double the damage dice, which would be 4d10.
Mhm.
You take one of them and immediately max it out, so it's immediately 10 damage. And if anyone has a point of ingenuity, they could now spend it to cause the remaining damage dice to explode if they roll the maximum.
I'll roll my 4 first. So I'll flip the 5 to a 10.
Mhm.
That gives me 18, 26, 33.
Bloody hell.
Was there any other 10s on it?
No.
So with 33 points of damage, you shoot it, having seen its biology up close on its smaller brother earlier, you shoot, rather than in between the eyes, you shoot right in the gullet, and the poison venomous sac explodes, and it gargles and drowns and falls to the ground, tearing at its throat, parts bone being exposed as it almost decapitates itself, trying to scoop out the venom.
Nice. Right, well,
I'll kill you, son.
I am going to try and shoot the other one in the sack as well then.
Okay.
Okay.
Certainly.
So I whip out my B.P.R.D. sidearm
Mm-hmm.
and I shoot.
So 1d20 and 1d10, and let's see what happens.
13 on the D20 and a 9 on the D10.
Okay, so you do indeed hit rather solidly. It's 2d10 bludgeoning damage with a sidearm.
Mm-hmm. That's an 8, followed by a 10.
Okay,
Nice.
so 18 damage. Very solid hit. And due to your exorcism earlier, you see, whereas the one before seemingly shrugged off a lot more damage, perhaps the exorcism has expelled some of the magical energy that allows these things to continue to exist. And you can almost sense the shock in its whelp, as if it wasn't expecting it to hurt that much.
Nice.
It looks in disbelief, and then Marcus, it's over to you.
Okay, cool. So I've shot one of these before. I've seen where the weak point was when Francesca shot it, so I'm going to go for a "this is going to hurt."
Okay, so make the so I'm
going to do the focus check. Which I did. What is it? It's plus
it's a Constitution saving throw.
Right, a
and
saving
DC's
throw.
10.
Oh, I got 9. I'm going to spend my other ingenuity to roll a d6 onto this. Can I do that?
Okay. Yeah, you certainly can. Even if you roll a 1, it's It's
so
enough.
I've boosted that effectively to get that. So now when I shoot on the successful attack,
it has disadvantage on basically.
Oh no! So this is the one that adds a hit die of damage extra
you're going
to
for
the attack. So
you're going for this is going to hurt.
Yes,
Okay, so
yeah.
your hit dice are a d10.
yes,
So make the attack roll, and we'll see if you hit.
yeah. Come on. 19 plus 5, so that's 24. I hope
Solid
that
hit.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
3d10 damage.
Yes, it is.
So that's 12 at the moment,
Uh-huh.
plus 8 up to 20 damage.
You pop the venom sac, and as you kind of brace yourself, and in your head, you perhaps even murmur, "This is going to hurt you," And it spins around, its tongue going wild, latching onto part of the wall. It falls to its knees, its tongue dragging down and cutting through the wallpaper as it clanks to the ground heavily on top of the other body, dead.
Nice.
As it sort of hits the ground, I'm going to be like, if this is show more than anything, we need to get down into that tunnel and try and get rid of these creatures.
I agree. I definitely think we should barrel headlong into a tunnel full of frog monsters as quickly as possible.
Me too. Yep, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, you bundle down through the newly discovered secret stairway. You head down the torchlight, illuminating this narrow corridor. It opens up into a wardrobe, oddly. There's a moth-eaten set of what you recognize as imitation occult robes that are clearly not fared particularly well. And it opens up into a library with macabre symbols carved into the stonework and stacks of leather-bound ancient tomes sprawled across the room.
Oh, I definitely want to look at all.
And there is a doorway beyond leading out.
I'll give the books a cursory glance, see if there's anything written on the spines or if they all...
roll a occultism check, please. And what's everyone else doing?
I'll have a look at the scrollings that were mentioned.
Yep, sure. That's going to be the intelligence occultism.
Yeah, and then Marcus is just going to run over to the door and just have a listen at the door and see if he can hear anything.
Okay, wisdom perception, please.
Okay.
I got 20, not a natural 20, just 20.
You're fairly sure that the majority of these are fraudulent. They're poppycock, but there are bits in there that names that ring a bell that like that's a misspelling. That's two words stitched together. That one sounds real, but due to the amount of them, sorting through them, you think would take 10 minutes, half an hour.
Well, we're not doing that now. Listen, gentlemen, after we're done here, all of this needs to go back to headquarters. This can't be left here for anybody to find. This needs to be searched.
Agree.
Okay. Jeremiah, what did you get on your occultism check?
I got a 16.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 9 on the other dice.
Okie dokie. So the symbols on the wall, they're close enough. They're close enough that if you weren't as familiar with the occult as you are, you would think that they're real, but they are definitely fake. They're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's playing at us.
So somebody playing at occultism, but not quite there.
Yeah. Marcus, what did we get
at the door? I rolled another one, so I have another doom.
We all need to stop doing that.
But I got a 18 plus, what was it, perception? So
So what I'm going to say is that point of doom, where you're listening at the door, where you're craning to hear, you just push on the door ever so slightly and it swings open. And the cracks of flashlight darting around and you look into, and it's a dark cave. And inside you hear the flaps of frogs hopping around.
Here we go.
And then a distinct growl, a low primordial growl, and it echoes out in this cave. Can everyone please roll initiative?
Oh, God.
Well done, Marcus.
And the final boss music starts playing.
Okay. So I got a 6 in total for my initiative that time.
I got 16.
I got a 6, and I also rolled a 1 on the other dice.
Ooh. Okay.
More doom.
We all need to stop that. Just need to agree to stop that.
As a group, a decision was made. So at the top of the round, Francesca, what would you like to do? There are genuine occult tomes in here that maybe if like frog monsters have been summoned, maybe there might be something in here about how that happened or how to stop it. Or maybe not. It could be a wild goose chase.
You're a terrible, terrible man. I will do that thing though. So try and hold the door. I'll see if there's anything in these books that will help us, and start just pick a shelf and start going down through, looking for any of the ones that I think may be more appropriate or actually real.
Okay, so it would be an investigation check at disadvantage just from the volume of it. But if you expend the use of your teamwork ability,
Yep.
That will make it a straight roll. If you have any uses of psychometry left, that will give you advantage.
I could use psychometry. And I will use teamwork.
Okay.
So that will be my last of my psychic abilities I can use.
Mm-hmm. So you're using psychometry, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you reach out and beyond the room you feel a great hunger, a great need consuming all in its wake. You hear chanting, you hear the sound of blood sacrifices, and your hand, seemingly guided perhaps by fate, perhaps by good luck, or perhaps by the ghosts of its victims, you land on a tome that is, and you open it up, and it seems genuine. And as you flick through, you come across a ritual that summons forth the great children of the dragon. And then you flip back and you flip forward again, and you think this could be a way of reversing it. It would take time, but it's doable. And then with that, we are over to that is your action. So unless there's anything you want to do as a bonus action.
No. Oh, well,
okay.
As a bonus action, I'll shout out that I think I've got something.
Sure thing. Free interaction with the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Six Club. Marcus and Jeremiah, who wants to go first?
Marcus.
Okay, so I've eked the door open and I can hear something coming down the passageway. Yeah.
Yep. It sounds big, large footsteps.
Okay. Marcus is going to close the door.
Pitch black in there.
Marcus is going to close the door, and he heard Francesca say, "Hold it," and he's like, "What the?" So he's just going to get a chair and jam it against the door, and then stand back with his pistol
You look
ready.
for a chair. You find one that by some miracle is largely intact. You ram it under the door handle, and you watch in horror as 4 years of mold and everything else cause it to immediately disintegrate into several small planks of wood.
And at that, Marcus just sort of shakes his head and just raises his pistol and just waits.
Okay. Jeremiah, would you like to do anything? Clenching is a free action.
Punching. So I punch Marcus and get back onto that door, and with the pair of us hold the door. So I kind of grab Marcus, I drag us both over to the door with our shoulders against the door to try and hold the door shut. To give.
Okay.
We could do a teamwork, couldn't we? Could we do that?
Yes, you could. Which then puts us on to the next check. So can you both make me a strength athletics check? You do generate ingenuity on 9s or 10s during this roll.
So I'm going to use one of my points of teamwork for us to do that.
Okay.
So I have a 13, but only a 7, unfortunately, on the other dice.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 13 on my strength check as well. No bonuses on the ingenuity die.
Okay, so it's a fairly solid. You're both clear field work. You're no slouches, but the force of what's ever on the side of the door as giant talons pierce through the edges of the doorway and crumple it as if it's wet paper, dragging down at you. Can you both make your dexterity saving throw at disadvantage because you're braced up and being firmly?
Oh god. Oh. So disadvantage. I got 5 in total for the dexterity check.
Would you like to use your do or die to maybe avoid what comes next if you have any uses left?
Okay. So what did I get to? I got 5, didn't I? So
yeah. So with do or die, you can re-roll it.
I'm going to go for the re-roll. Yeah. So.
Okay. Remember, it will still be at disadvantage.
Yes. Yeah.
And Jeremiah, what do we get?
I got a 3. So I may use my last do or die here.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So I got 6 on the do or die. So 1 better.
13.
So Jeremiah, you're able to sidestep one of the large talons, but Marcus, as you're going, 60 days. It hooks on, and the talon falls in between you and your utility jacket and pulls you back into the darkness.
I just shout. I'm actually shouting back through the darkness. 60 days.
Right, we need to get him.
Right, Francesca, you see Jeremiah at the door. You watch as his flashlight is pulled up into this cave, and you see that the cave must be at least 30 foot tall and 30 foot wide. And this creature, as the flashlight falls over it, would appear to be a 15-foot tall frog monster. But instead of talon teeth, there's squid-like appendages covering its maw as it slowly parts as Marcus is raised up.
You say I see that, but I only half see that because never see that. Just never see that.
Jeremiah, on the other hand, just like, well. And at that point, Marcus, your flashlight dramatically falls into the maw, illuminating, and it's quite a long way down. But Francesca, you do have the tome.
Yes.
By the powers of the psychic metaphysics and the aid of ghosts, you found the right ritual. What would you like to do?
Is it something I could conceivably perform quickly enough that Marcus isn't going to be killed up while I do it?
Well, you do luckily, in your equipment, have a rapid deployment ritual kit, which contains the majority of what most occult rituals would need, according to the Boffins at least, although you're fairly sure the Boffins have never taken a single step outside the lab, which is a combination...
In case a monster break glass type of thing.
Yes. So it's a number of spray cans with templates, sigils, and all manner of things, and candles that you're able to set up. It might take a couple of rounds, or you could get lucky and it will only take one round.
I'll help.
I will deploy the kit.
Okay, you deploy the kit.
And attempt to set this up as quickly as possible.
Okay, and Jeremiah is helping, is that my understanding?
Yep, I'm going to help.
Okay, cool. So can you both make me a charisma check to... first it will be an intelligence... Francesca, please make me an intelligence occult check to basically try and sound the impossible... it's like speaking Welsh whilst... Yeah.
That's 19.
19, you solidly, this is not your first, it's been a weird day, small things like your jaw opening the wrong way aren't going to stop you. Then could you both make me a charisma check? You both roll 3d10 instead of 1d10 for doom and ingenuity.
Okay.
There's the other d10.
Okay.
So, 1 bonus ingenuity, no doom. And I got 12.
Okay.
I got a 15.
Sure.
Yep.
I got an 8, 5, and a 10 on the other dice.
Okay, so so you've both generated a point of ingenuity, which is an additional success. You both succeeded on your charisma checks to funnel the magical forces to your will, and it sparks out of the book this purple-like flame that belches out into the darkness, wreathing and wrapping itself around this hulking monstrosity. And Marcus, before your eyes, you watch as it slowly, the bones crunch as they realign, ligaments fall off, appendages fall off, until finally you're dropped to the ground. And before your eyes, you watch as this frog monster hollows out and turns into a man in his mid-30s, and then the march of time in a matter of seconds ravages through him. His hair grows long, and he begins to mummify and putrefy before finally turning to dust.
Oh,
that was pretty ninja.
Yeah.
Marcus then mutters under his breath, 60 days. 60 days. And sort of stumbles out of the darkness.
You all right, Marcus?
Oh, whatever you did, it's gone.
Right. What do we do now?
Well, now we call in the rest of the B.P.R.D to get all of this out of here. And then we hand the keys back to that estate agent. I need a drink. I'm going to the pub.
Did we remember to pick up his tools?
So as you make your way out of the mansion, you wander up to where you fought the two frog monsters, and you spot one of them has turned into this hollowed out human form again. It seems that some of these frog monsters were indeed people that have been changed and were able to have longevity through it, through some macabre ritual. The one that you first encountered seemingly has just putrefied into a bubbling mess of all manner of, I'm sure the boffins will love that, in a lab far away from where I've got to deal with it. And as you exit, you see a spectral turn of the century's early automobile, Edward opening the door and Mary climbing in, and they drive off over the horizon into the dark night.
Oh.
As you stagger back to the SUV, Marcus, discovering that the drop has clearly clicked something that wasn't meant to click that way, and you dial up the satellite phone, give it the all clear, and drive back to the pub and await for backup to arrive. And that is a modified version of the Quickstart, which will be available very soon. There will be cross-compatibility rules so that you can use your tiles from the Hellboy board game to use some of the lovely maps that are in there.
Very cool.
We also have compatibility rules for if you want to use your board game dice for generating doom and ingenuity and for using them during crits.
Oh, nice.
So wait
I loved that. That was fantastic. Alex, thank you, man. That was brilliant. What a great world to RP it.
I was going to say the thing that I was really interested in is how that we're going to do like the whole sort of horror kind of weird element stuff to it, and I think it really comes out in not just the storytelling from you, Alex, but obviously the mechanics sort of feed into that really nicely as well. I think that's really cool. That's really awesome.
It's one of the guiding design principles was that, because it's all very well to go and the GM has to make it work, storytellers, but in having a slight mechanical backing with the doom and ingenuity, you saw it where like ingenuity gets to do really cool things, and then it starts piling up on the other side of this is going to go bad, this is going to
and it's a lot like the Hellboy board game as well, then, where you've got that, like you said, it's the pendulum swinging back and forth, and every time you think things are going your way, then that die roll just swings it back the other way and sticks it in your craw. It's been great fun playing through that.
Loved it.
So hopefully we'll be able to speak to you again soon and see what else is going on. Presumably there's lots planned for the Kickstarter.
There's a lot already in development on the mechanics and other side of it, which I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about yet or not, but I'll be more than happy to if I am.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll leave it there for now. If you're interested in Hellboy, the role-playing game, it will be on Kickstarter on the 30th of June. So check that out. And in the meantime, if you've any comments on our fantastic Scottish and American accents, if you can work out what part of Scotland I was from, congratulations. Until then, we're going to move on, folks. See you again. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this Let's Play. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.